back. I'm Elizabeth. This is my handsome co-host, Levi. We are coming in on our big show 2 of Ruthless Aggression. Coming out of vacation. Had a nice week off. How did you feel?
It was nice getting away from everything but you.
Yeah. Including the dog. We got away from him for a little bit.
We got away from Wally for a little while.
Yeah.
Got some nice beach time in.
Yeah. It's good to be home, though.
Yeah, it's good to be home.
We strategically planned to be away Tuesday through Friday, half of the day. No wrestling missed.
Yeah, except we didn't do a podcast.
Yeah.
So maybe we're still too early in our podcast journey to have like a bunch of episodes just lined up.
Yeah.
So we can release one.
Yeah,
so
we'll get to the big timers soon.
We're on the cutting edge right now, but
Yeah.
one of these days
Yeah.
we'll get there.
Most recent cutting edge were on YouTube. So if you're listening to this and you're like, what in the world do they possibly look like? You can look at us on YouTube. Also, if you're what the Always Sunny podcast calls creeps, if you're watchers, we're also on all the podcast platforms. So you could be a listener.
All the good ones anyway.
Yeah, all the ones worth listening to. So just a reminder, like as far as the podcast goes, our main kind of driving goal with this is to go back and watch all of the episodes of the Ruthless Aggression Era, which I don't know. How long is an era? 10 years?
I think it depends. This one is 6+ years, roughly.
Okay, a solid time period.
Years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why am I thinking 10 years? That's a decade. Decade's 10 years. So we're going back and we're watching that because it was just kind of a prominent time period in wrestling. It was one that Levi really liked.
Grew up watching?
Yeah.
Yep.
And it has a good amount of wrestlers that are still wrestling today. So it's almost like we're kind of going back and getting a backstory on them, a little bit of a rich characterization. And then it gives me a little bit of kind of context for some things.
It's like watching the prequel to today's wrestling.
Yeah.
It's like, how did these guys get here?
Yeah.
And you still have a handful of guys that are still around, kind of toward the end of their career, that started in the Ruthless Aggression Era. So
yeah. Sometimes on the show we'll do some like recaps of premium events or maybe just some discussion of present day wrestling, which you may have noticed if you've watched up to this point. But our main episodes, like today, is going show by show for Ruthless Aggression, and kind of just talking about the matches of the show, who we're seeing, what we're thinking, and maybe just some light commentary on the fact. It also helps me unpack it as a casual fan. I need a little bit more explanation because I'm jumping in cold. But so far it's been pretty interesting, I think, going back, even though we're just on episode 2 now. So following up last week's episode, the first big announcement, Ruthless Aggression announcement episode was Monday Night Raw.
Mm-hmm.
So show 2 is SmackDown. So we're 4 or 5 days after Monday, depending on how you count your days.
Yeah, actually, back then it was actually on Thursdays.
No, it wasn't really.
Yeah, I don't know if you got that. It used to be Thursday night SmackDown.
Huh.
Then they eventually moved it to Fridays.
I actually did not catch that at all and didn't even know that was a thing. So, okay.
Yeah, I may not have caught it if I didn't remember it changing.
Okay. Well, we're still
we're
still in June.
We're still in June. Friday Night SmackDown. You want to get into it?
Yeah. Let's jump in. I thought it started a little bit more casual than previous episode, which started with Vince McMahon having a big announcement.
Mm-hmm.
So this episode kind of opens with a new face, at least from last week, Kurt Angle,
we still start with Vince.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it opened with Kurt in the ring.
So backing up just a little bit. We're in Chicago.
Okay. Where were we last week? Ohio?
We were in Cleveland last week. So we're up in the northern parts of the States. I wanted to briefly mention the intro. What do you think about it? The beautiful people. Marilyn Manson?
I don't... now, I'll have to watch the intros more frequently. But just going off of memory alone, I didn't find it as provoking as Monday Night Raw. I think Mondays is still my theme of choice.
It's hard to beat, but I think the beautiful people intro, the SmackDown intro, is really good too. Marilyn Manson.
Who does Monday Night?
I always forget.
Okay. I'll go back and look. Or
I think they were kind of a one-hit wonder. Yeah. Like I don't really know them outside of that one song, but anyway, I remember it pretty fondly. You remarked on the fist, the SmackDown fist set.
That was new to me. I don't recall seeing that on Monday Night Raw or in present day. So,
well, it's exclusive to SmackDown during this era.
Okay. It's just a big old fist.
Yeah, that's just kind of their branding, I guess. Laying the SmackDown. So you got a big fist.
Okay.
I think it's really cool. I kind of miss sets like this because nowadays it's all just one giant screen.
Yeah, it's just a big screen when you're coming out.
So I really miss sets like this. But yeah, we start with Vince in the ring again. But he does introduce Kurt Angle relatively quickly.
I thought
he mentions that Kurt Angle made Hulk Hogan tap out at King of the Ring. About a week ago.
Yeah, I was thinking I was like asleep for like the whole half, but now that you're saying that, I do remember. Anytime Vince McMahon is on the screen, I feel like I'm just waiting for him to be gone. Not out of like hatred, but just. He's just kind of there to, I guess, talk a big talk and walk the walk, but...
Yeah, not really sure why he needed to introduce Kurt Angle this time around, but...
Yeah.
Whatever. He didn't say too much, but our first exposure to Kurt Angle.
Yeah. It was interesting. So I've seen, like, some pictures of him, because he doesn't wrestle anymore now, I don't think, but... I'm starting to learn the name. It took me forever to put that name with his face. I don't know why the name Kurt Angle in my mind just does not stick. But I wanted to ask you, I didn't research this and maybe I should, but I know that at the time he entered the WWE, he was the gold medalist for the US, right?
Yeah. I mean, he won the Olympic gold for the US in wrestling. So kind of he's probably the most, outside of maybe Brock Lesnar, they're kind of 1A, 1B, most legitimate professional athletes that became wrestlers in the WWE.
That seems simultaneously like a really big get for the WWE. And also, I have to wonder, why is that the case? Why is he the only gold medalist that's been there, at least to my knowledge?
Well, Kurt has like a very specific combination of talents, I would say. Not only is he a great wrestler, but as we'll see, and you can even see at this very early point, he's very good on the microphone. He's very entertaining. He knows how to play the crowd.
Maybe just a personality thing.
He's an entertainer.
Yeah.
He's a born entertainer. Like, I mean, you even have Brock. Brock had to come in and have Paul Heyman do a lot of his talking for him because it takes some time to kind of get that, but it seems like Kurt was just like a natural.
Okay. I didn't really think about it that way. I was just wondering how he came to be the only kind of big professional guy, but makes sense.
Yeah. And he's kind of, one of just the best all around wrestlers because he's technically one of the best in the ring. And plus, like I was saying, he's so entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
It just kind of makes him the full package.
So I noticed one of the jokes that he's playing on as he starts on the mic is that he very clearly has a funny looking hairpiece on.
Under like a wrestling
ear protector, maybe?
Whatever that thing is. Yeah.
Some kind of ear protector. So coming into this being my first SmackDown that I'm watching, is this a recurring joke? Did Kurt Angle do this because he's bald underneath there, or shaved? He doesn't have hair.
Yeah. This was maybe slightly before my time. I know that in like he started in the Attitude Era. He had real hair at that point.
Okay.
I'm guessing he started to lose it and he shaved it. And then as he does, and as he is so good at doing, he made that part of his act.
Gotcha. Okay.
And he wanted people to make fun of him and like the crowd to pick on him. And he was going to act like he was super self-conscious about it and mad, but really he was getting exactly what he wants.
Gotcha. Okay. I also felt kind of taken aback. I know I've made the comparison before with Chad Gable, who is a present day wrestler and also some kind of, I don't know if he was in the Olympics, but he was some kind of professional or really good, actual wrestler. Man, they look alike. I don't know if it's their stature, their body type, or
yeah, it's funny you say that. I think a lot of people make that comparison.
Yeah,
I think there are a lot of similarities there. Other than Chad Gable's a little bit shorter, a good bit shorter actually.
Something in the face, like if you told me, like I know a lot of wrestlers have kind of family trees. If you were like, he's like his uncle, I'd be like, oh damn, I really see that.
Yeah, cut from the same cloth for sure.
Yeah.
So Angle eventually throws it off his funny looking hairpiece, and he lays down an open challenge to anyone in the locker room that he's never faced before to come out and face him in a match. And who comes out?
Before this grand entrance, which I definitely want to dissect, could not pay attention whatsoever to his announcement and his mic skills, because all I could pay attention to was the funny posters that were being held up behind Kurt Angle. My two favorites being Olympic cue ball and bald eagle. The posters are great. It makes me want to make a poster for our next match.
Did you notice that they chant "You suck" whenever he comes out? You didn't?
No, when Kurt Angle came out?
Yeah, so that's kind of a thing. It's like whenever in the spaces in his theme song, the crowd chants "You suck."
Huh. So not a crowd favorite.
It's a love to hate kind of thing.
Okay.
It's like it's kind of like Dominic nowadays. Almost.
Okay.
It's like it's just so fun to mess with him.
Gotcha.
That you can't help but do it.
Okay. All right.
Especially because like I said, he just plays into it so much. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So
do you think that him being more hateable maybe played very well for his opponent that's coming out, which is dun dun dun, the first appearance of the one and only John Cena?
John Cena.
Big time. Obviously not at this point, but
he looked good.
Yeah.
I mean, they have their match. I think he looks really great in the ring. It's no secret. Everyone from the commentators to even after the match is really giving him his due respect, because not only does he come out and say, I've got that ruthless or whatever. Kurt asks him something and he says ruthless aggression and then smacks him in the face pretty hard. He's great in the ring. Yeah. He looks like not that much worse than the John Cena we know.
Yeah.
Just without the signatures.
Super cut. Something about, he has what I would call a military head. I don't know why. Maybe it's box shaped. I did think it was interesting to see him, all I've ever known of John Cena in present day. And then when the show has flashbacks, you see him like in his jorts, his really long shorts, very casual. So this being his first appearance where he's actually wearing shorts, trunks, and in like wrestling gear, I was like, oh, hold up now this is a different look. Now I'm not used to seeing this professional, almost more ready to throw down look.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't want to get into too much because I know we're going to see Cena's journey and a lot of these guys' journeys as we watch. But I think his look is the one thing that's obviously different from the Cena we know.
Oh yeah, definitely. He's a little bit what I would call like middle of the road, which is what a lot of, I think, more casual wrestlers wear, present and past. Kind of a plain boxer brief
It's
type.
generic.
Very generic.
He comes out to the SmackDown theme song.
Yeah.
He's very... And I'll peel back the curtain a little bit because I've watched some documentaries around this. Cena says, I don't think he knew until the day of that he was going to do this even. Like they kind of came back there and told him like, hey, Kurt's going to challenge somebody and it's you.
Huh.
You're going to go out there. I was like, okay, sure. So I don't think this was like a super well planned out thing. It was just like, let's throw this kid out there and see how he does.
I find that so fascinating with wrestling. Like you can have an Olympic gold medal wrestler, literally the best ever in the world, opposing some nobody. You'd never, he doesn't even know he's showing up. I feel like there's such a big difference with that. And like, let's say the NBA where like, if there is a rookie up and coming, you know about him. Like he is the top dog, you know, all the rookies coming in, you know how they've played in the past. You have predictions.
Yeah.
It's very different. It's like, who's this guy? And then I guess anybody can make a name for themselves, I would think.
Yeah, it's all about opportunities. Do you get the opportunity, and then what do you do with it?
A little bit of luck, a little bit of skill.
So I want to get to the next part because we've got, we're still on Cena, but he's backstage. He's getting his props from, well, I'll say first before he leaves the ring, he tries to shake Kurt's hand. Kurt wants nothing to do with that. He's not showing any respect.
Now, did John win?
Sorry, Kurt Angle won.
Okay, I thought so, but
John... it was a big back and forth match. It could have went either way.
Cena was clotheslining the heck out of him. Like, holy crap, he came out swinging. Yeah, it was big.
So, yeah, Angle wins. Cena goes for the handshake. Kurt doesn't want anything about it. Backstage, though, he does get some respect from some veterans. We got Rikishi back there. The Undertaker walks up and puts out his hand. You know, we got the baddest man on the planet here, the undisputed champ. And, Cena shakes his hand. And I wanted to point this out because also, I don't remember the exact words that Cena said about this moment, but I know that he has a lot of regrets about how he handled this. Because I think he came out really strong with like slapping Angle in the face. But then he just goes around like a goody two shoes and starts shaking everybody's hand. Yeah. And it's like you've got the in-ring stuff down, but there's nothing really interesting about you at this point.
Right, yeah.
Whereas if he'd maybe like snubbed the Undertaker or something, well then now you're going to want to know what's going to happen to this kid next week.
But John Cena was coming up from the Ohio Valley area wrestling, right? Or OVF, whatever. OVW, yeah. The developmental league. So, yeah, I guess what I'm sensing as a pattern, and I'm sure we'll develop, seems like those guys are coming out really strong with the technique. Like they're strong as heck. You got him, you got Batista, which is coming up. You got Brock Lesnar, super big and strong, but not a whole lot that's captivating. So, seems like that, there's a big divergence when it comes to that skill and personality.
Yep. They're all super young and trying to figure out. I mean, that's a pattern we're going to see is these guys all have the talent, but you kind of have to find your particular niche. Like what's interesting about you? Yeah. And how do you make the fans like you? Because that's really hard.
Yeah. Also, can we just observe my boy Undertaker is wearing the thickest bandana on that forehead I have ever seen in my life.
If you keep dissing the Undertaker, we're going to have a problem.
I was, you're used to seeing the like folded bandana that goes across.
It was a different time, man.
Man, he's got that whole thing around his forehead. Them
I think he
eyebrows
looks
barely
cool.
breathing.
It's timeless. It's a timeless look.
Timeless, yeah. Okay.
All right, next we have a tag team championship match.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Billy and Chuck accompanied by Rico. These are the tag team champs versus the Big Lebowski and Hardcore Holly, which I don't know for sure, but strikes me as a kind of a last minute put together. They don't really seem like they're a team necessarily.
Yeah, this felt like a throwaway match. I mean, I see them in present day too. Just like, we're just trying to get these people fighting, get them over. We don't really care. It's a little bit of a filler.
It's a filler match. Yeah. There's not really much to say about it. The champs retain and move on.
Yeah.
All right, now we've got Jamie Noble and his girlfriend Nydia backstage in a super weird backstage thing.
Weird.
Accompanied by Tajiri. Jamie Noble, first time we're seeing him, he's kind of a white trash. I mean, straight up white trash.
Yeah,
guy.
That's his character, yeah.
He's a redneck. He's got the accent. He's got a lot of rednecky things about him.
Yeah, he's no Hardy, that's for sure.
No Jeff Hardy? No.
Yeah, he's. I feel like Jeff Hardy is what country people are or want to be, and this other guy is like what people perceive country people to be.
Yeah, it's definitely a stereotype character. But also, he's the cruiserweight champ, though. Cruiserweight champion. As of King of the Ring, where he beat the Hurricane, he's the new champ.
No comments on that.
Yeah, so this is a weird thing where obviously Jamie and Nydia are together, and he's talking to Tajiri and saying like, "You want a taste of this?"
It's a little cringe.
I mean,
I'm noticing that WWE was really wanting to push the boundaries.
Very edgy.
Very.
Took a lot of swings and missed
a lot of misses.
This is probably a miss.
This is a big
for
miss.
me.
Big miss. Makes you just cringe. They share their gum and you're like, ooh, no, thank you.
Tajiri and Nydia get a little kiss. It's
weird.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Moving on, we've got Triple H is out of action, we hear. At King of the Ring, he was injured by The Undertaker. I think he took a chair shot to the elbow.
Yeah.
And he'll be back next week, but probably not wrestling.
Look like, man, right to the old bony prominence there. Probably chipped that little guy off. Ugh.
We have Lance Storm versus Mark Henry, the world's strongest man. Our first exposure to him. And we get we get two promos, one for each. Lance Storm, I think, is a lot less interesting. They've decided to make the Canadians the villains here, which is hilarious.
That is the funniest thing. I've never seen a Canadian anti-American villain until now. I mean, this is a first for me.
And I thought this was normal growing up. Like, I didn't know much about Canada. Like, it's not really until now that I realized like how dumb this is.
Yeah, it's very funny. It feels anti-Canadian stereotype, which I don't know, maybe was funny at the time, but now looking back, it's like, okay, so they're a bunch of mild-mannered young Canadian men who are like, oh, those Americans. That's their stance. So hey. The Anti-American League.
We'll see more from his little clique.
Yeah.
We've also got Mark Henry. We see him lifting, I don't know if it's the world's heaviest, but one of the heaviest dumbbells at the time. And it's got this big, thick, like, how many
like 2 inches or something. Yeah,
2-inch
like
handle
really
or something.
Thick.
So he lifts that thing is in some conference room or something. It's kind of a weird situation.
They really want you to know that he's the strongest man in the world.
But he is. So this is another guy that's got the real chops. He won the strongman competition at one point. So he legitimately had the claim of being the strongest man in the world.
Yeah. So explain the win to me then. Because
the what?
The win.
Of this match?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought they really did Mark Henry dirty here. Like, he's supposed to... And he eventually becomes kind of a monster. But they don't really treat him like that at this point. I mean, he has some monstrous moves. He throws Lance Storm from the ground over the top rope into the ring at one point. So he's definitely a monster. But then Lance Storm gives him a super kick and then pins him.
Yeah, it just felt a little messy, maybe. It wasn't very tight. And I think sometimes that happens maybe potentially in Mark Henry's example, where he may not be the most technical wrestler or the most trained, but yet he's really strong. So the match ended up feeling disjointed a little bit.
I mean, I remember Lance Storm, and he was around for a little while, but like I just can't imagine what they were thinking putting him over Mark Henry. You've got the world's strongest man. What are you doing?
Yeah, it didn't. He did not sell that well at all. That was
not a good match.
Yeah.
Moving on, we've got Undertaker. I'm a big Undertaker fan, but he spends a lot of time talking about nothing. Basically, this whole thing is a promo for The Rock is returning next week. He says, set your VCRs.
Yes. We hear this over and over again in this episode.
We're not even at DVDs yet. We're still at VCRs.
But they really want you to know The Rock is coming back. I think.
The Rock is going to grace us with his presence next week.
Yeah. We have Undertaker reminding you. We have actual promos that are shot that have him. We have the commentators reminding you that The Rock is coming back.
Does it remind you of someone in the current day, perhaps?
I mean, he's related to Roman Reigns.
Yeah. Sort of.
They share a family tree.
It's complicated. They're family friends. They're not technically related, but they are part of the same quote unquote family. They're not really related, but they're
okay. Well,
but they're from the same place.
Roman Reigns is for sure taking a page out of the old Rock's book of being.
Yep. But what is Roman doing? He's not in any movies or anything, is he?
He's probably just living his life.
Seth is in more movies than Roman right now.
I don't know. I'd have to look on the IMDb.
I've never seen Roman in a movie.
He may. I don't know. I'm sure, he can't just go from 0 to 100. He probably has to.
Maybe he's just going straight to the beach.
He's just chilling, bro.
And I can't blame him. Hey,
he's just chilling on Miami.
He's like, I'm good. I don't need to be The Rock. I'm just gonna be me.
He's basically, he's the present day semi-retired champion that's supposed to be top of the top that shows up on a part-time as wanted schedule.
And believe it or not, we look back on The Rock fondly now, but this is kind of the beginning of the popular opinion sort of turning against The Rock a little bit.
Yeah.
Almost in a we love you so much, we hate you because you keep leaving us.
Yeah, well, I could see it for sure. Yeah. I feel that way about Roman Reigns, and I don't even really love Roman Reigns.
But if we got him on a consistent basis, it would be incredible.
Yeah.
But, I mean, on a personal level, I get it.
Sure. I mean, you can't do two things at once, but it's also hard to watch, a show or an entertainment company, cling to for their life to this character who isn't really here a lot. So you hear about them a lot and there's so much excitement about this character, but they're just not here. So it's why do you keep talking about them? They're not here.
So Kurt Angle interrupts The Undertaker.
Yeah.
Talking about all this. He says he beat The Undertaker last week, which we didn't see. It was the episode before we started, but apparently he pinned The Undertaker. I don't know if there was any shenanigans around that, but it wasn't for the title or anything. But anyway, he challenges The Undertaker to a title match next week. Undertaker teases him a little bit about, he wants to do the match tonight, but then Kurt's like, I don't know if you saw, I just did a little tune-up match. And he's like, tune-up match? Yeah. You almost got beat by a rookie.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty good. I mean, Angle got the crap beat out of him, so yeah, that was pretty funny. I love what do you call these? shots, promos. What are these called? Cameos?
Yeah, promo.
I love when they talk, like they're very self-aware in this. I think it adds to the show as opposed to feeling like you're flashing forward and backwards a lot. I like having kind of a continuous shot where they're, I guess, commentating on what just happened. It makes me like the characters more, the wrestlers more. So point for Undertaker and Angle in this one. It is funny.
Pretty funny.
Yeah.
Kurt asked to hold the championship belt for a minute, and Undertaker lets him. Says that's the closest you're ever going to get to having this. And then Kurt puts him in a very sneaky angle lock for a second and then runs out just to make a little statement.
He's a little wily boy.
So we've got a match set for next Friday.
Yeah, that'll be a good one.
Yep. Kurt Angle versus The Undertaker for the title this time.
Yeah, that'll be good.
We've got... We'll briefly touch the Divas Undressed stuff.
I made no notes. I just left an empty line.
Yeah, I just made a note of it. But it happens several times throughout the show.
Yeah.
We've got Tori Wilson. We've got Stacy Keibler.
Oh, wait. No, I did make a note of that.
Yeah, they come out several times throughout the show.
I did that when they actually come out. This is just like a little sneak peek. Yeah. Yeah,
apparently like the next day they're doing like this undressed show on television. I don't know. Never watched it.
Yeah. Maybe it made more sense at the time, or the audience was maybe more aware of what was going on. But going back, I do think this is the hardest thing to watch because, at least for me, I mean, take away the fact that they're dressed like they're doing lingerie modeling and whatever. They're clear, they have an agenda there, but for me, trying to watch the show and make sense of it all, it's just so disjointed. You don't really because they're not really wrestling. They're just in bras and panties, and I'm like, who are these people? So, maybe I'll figure it out more as time goes on, but.
Yeah, they were trying to hook in a very specific audience of teenage boys and young boys, and it worked.
For sure.
It worked. I'm here.
You're a success story.
Yeah. All right. Up next, we've got Test versus Rikishi.
He's a big boy, too. I think Test is an appropriate name for him.
Yeah, so he's part of the anti-American Canadians. And he just apparently came off of a pretty impressive performance against Brock Lesnar in King of the Ring.
Yeah, now that would be interesting to go back and see.
Yeah,
because I don't think we have, or I have seen that, but I'm assuming it would be good because they're both really big boys.
And Rikishi, for those who don't know, is Daddy Uso.
Daddy Uso.
Father to Jimmy and Jay Uso of the modern day. And Solo Sikoa.
So I should probably know this, but probably don't. Are Jimmy and Jay and Solo brothers?
Yeah.
Huh. But now Jimmy and Jay are twins, or they're just brothers?
Yes. Twins.
I'll be dag. Okay.
Yeah, they've covered this pretty openly. If you would watch all of the Bloodline stuff, you'd know that. But
I mean, they don't give a family lesson every time, but.
I mean,
I knew that they were all related. I guess I didn't know they were legit brothers. I thought maybe they were cousins or something.
Anyway, but they look a lot like Rikishi for sure. A lot
Jimmy
like their father.
Jay look like almost identical though. That's weird. And Solo, I don't think looks identical to them.
Well, Jimmy and Jay are twins. We've been over this. All right. Oh my God.
I don't know how genetics works.
Solo is their brother, but not another twin.
Okay, I got you.
Speaking of the Usos, we see Rikishi give Test a super kick.
Yeah. No, I thought Test gave the super kick. No, Rikishi gives a super kick.
It was Rikishi. Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of super kicks in this show.
Yep. Which is a big move of pretty much a signature move of the Usos. So
yeah.
Little callback to their father there.
So I wonder if that's a familial thing. since they're related. They're brothers, if you know.
We have Test beefing with the ref throughout this match. They're just not getting along.
Yeah. That seems to be... Man, they really have carried these same characteristics through the family lines, since they're all related, with the whole ref issues, people getting involved.
Well, this is Test beefing with the ref, not Rikishi.
Okay, well, it's a common theme. That's all I'm saying.
But Rikishi does push Test into the ref and results in a disqualification against Test. Yes. So, ref shenanigans.
Ref shenanigans, yes.
Oh, but we do get a stink face after the bell.
This is so bizarre to me, and I think it's similar to the Usos thing too, where I don't quite understand them. You have this man Rikishi who is culturally American Samoan, but presenting as or dressing as a sumo wrestler, which I thought was a Japanese thing culturally, but maybe it is American Samoan, who has a special move of putting his butt in their face. He's a big bag of tricks.
Yeah, he's unique.
Yeah. Sure.
That may have been why he caught on.
Yeah, sticking your butt in somebody's face, that'll get you noticed for sure.
He's a good blend between almost like a comedy character, but he takes himself seriously. And he is a legitimate threat.
Yeah. He's a big boy.
Christian and Lance Storm attempt to help. So Christian is the only guy we haven't seen out of the Canadian Brotherhood. And they attempt to help, but Rikishi's a little too much. So they dip out.
They're weak, those Canadians.
We've got Hogan and Vince backstage. Really, this is just for Vince to rub in Hogan's face that he tapped out to the angle lock at King of the Ring.
Mm-hmm. Very conveniently positioned between a nice, gratuitous picture of a woman.
Stacy Keibler.
Nice
yes.
Poster on the wall. I wanted to point out something that really struck me. I don't know why. Maybe I just never noticed it. I don't know. I have never seen Hulk Hogan with his mustache and a dark beard in between.
That was kind of... I think he started doing that when he went to WCW and did the NWO stuff.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, we'll get to this a little bit with his match, but they seem to present him a little bit differently than like Hulkamania Hogan.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He's got a little bit of that NWO Hollywood Hulk Hogan is what they call him. Mm-hmm. He's still got some of that in him. He's kind of a hybrid.
Yeah, I read so another reason why I read is because when I saw him, I know I'm skipping ahead a little bit, we'll get there, but when he was wrestling, I thought surely this guy is ending his career. I mean, I thought he was like a way old wrestler. Anyways, relevant portion of that is that I read that he, when he eventually came back to WWE after he, I guess, did all of his moves, was that, he became like the anti-hero guy with his Hollywood Hogan thing. So it makes sense that they're maybe painting him as a more negative character. But their talk doesn't last long. It seems like it's just a way to kind of set up his upcoming match.
Yep, the main event coming up, Hogan versus Jericho. Mm-hmm. But first, a word from our sponsors. Just kidding. We don't have any.
The non-friendly Canadians, because I think that's who talk next.
Yes, we got the Canadians talking also nothing of substance.
Yeah,
America sucks.
Yeah, America sucks. That is definitely their message for this match.
Next up, we got the Cruiserweight Champion, Jamie Noble, accompanied by Nydia, and teaming up with Tajiri to take on Billy Kidman and the Hurricane, who is the now former Cruiserweight Champion.
Yeah.
I thought it was a pretty fun match. This was the flippy Cruiserweight kind of match. Lots of interesting moves.
Billy Kidman really stuck out to me. I don't know maybe how long he sticks around or if he does, but of the four, he was the most like, ooh, okay, this guy's got some moves. He's moving in the ring well.
Yeah, I agree. I was really impressed with him as well. And unfortunately, I don't remember where he goes.
Yeah.
I don't think he, obviously, compared to some of your other young talent from this era, I don't think he quite lives up to it. But
yeah,
he puts on a great match and wins via a superstar press. The little forward moving backflip off the top rope.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
They always make you go.
That's like the hard. Yeah, it's one of the most
Yeah.
dangerous moves.
Yeah.
For sure. And he pulled it off.
In the midair, you're like, I don't know if that was the best choice. But then they land it and you're like, whew.
But yeah, I was really impressed with Billy Kidman, and I'm still interested in seeing where he goes. Even though I know he's not going to be a superstar.
Certainly the shining star of this match between Jamie Noble and Nydia and Tajiri, which we've already talked about as being uncomfortable cringe. And then his partner, the Hurricane, seemed to be a superhero wannabe. Not really sure.
The Hurricane's cool.
Okay.
But we'll see more of him later.
We'll see. We need to develop that character a little bit more.
Yeah. I did like Tajiri had I forgot about the tarantula.
Oh.
I don't know if you saw that one. It's a move where he's tangled around his opponent over like the ropes, kind of in this weird tangle, and it's an illegal move.
Oh.
I just thought that was interesting. He's also a mist spitter kind of guy. He's got the green mist. So
okay.
He's got some illegal stuff in his bag of tricks.
Is mist spitting illegal?
Yeah.
Well, now hold up. But that's just how Asuka won.
Yeah, but it's always when the ref isn't looking.
Oh.
It's not legal.
Okay. Well, good to know.
I always think it's a cop out.
Yeah.
Like, get that out of here.
It's a bit showy.
Mm-hmm. We got Jericho interviewing backstage. We see a flashback to, I don't know when this was actually, but we see him beat down Edge. It was either the previous week or may have been further back actually.
Was it Edge or Triple H? It was Edge.
It was Edge.
Oh.
He had a beat down on Edge, and then Edge went out with injury for a while.
Jericho beating the crap out of everybody on this episode. I mean, flashing back to it, you know.
And yeah, he threatens to do the same thing to Hogan, which we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see whether he lives up to that or not.
That's kind of the shining match of this episode. Huh?
We've got a Rey Mysterio debut teaser again.
Okay, now here's my question. This is the second time that we're seeing this similar. They showed it on Monday Raw.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're showing it again. You see basically a flash of Rey Mysterio's masks, his signature thing. Then you see a compilation of his wrestling, it looks like, and then it says he is coming.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a comeback, or is this...
WCW is where he made his name and where a lot of those shots come from.
Gotcha.
He's never been in I don't think he's ever been in WWE up to this point. At least not as far as I know, and not as like a star.
So he's not really a big name right now?
I think he's a relative, like, I know he made a name for himself in WCW.
Okay. All right. So they're just hyping him up.
I think this whole cruiserweight division was kind of pioneered in WCW from what
the flippies and the jumpies
gathered.
Okay.
With like Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio and those types of people, I think a lot of those started in WCW.
Gotcha.
So they kind of
they're kind of merging.
Revolutionized that area.
Okay. Just want to throw it back before we get to the next interesting match. I would be remiss if we did not mention the parade of lingerie women, Tori Wilson and Stacy Keibler. Keibler. Oh, forgive me. What's worse, Kibble or Keeble? Keibler. But isn't it spelled
Hall
with
of
an
Famer. Keibler, I think.
I misspelled it. Okay.
Hall of Famer Stacy Keibler, just inducted this year.
makes you wonder what the Hall of Fame is really about.
You know, I remember Stacy Keibler fondly, not just for these.
I'm sure.
Yeah, but more than like a Tori Wilson or, you know, obviously just eye candy.
Yeah.
I think she, from what like my perception of her is legitimate.
Okay.
I think, but we'll see where it goes.
I look
could
forward
be wrong
to
about
watching
that.
her grow and evolve.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty much what felt to be a little pointless. They come out in their lingerie suits. Dawn Marie comes out and says she's better than those two. One smacks the other. They go backstage. A nice little intermission, probably a bathroom break for most viewers in the audience, and then we're back to business.
Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't even write that one down.
Yeah,
so.
I just would hate to miss it. You know. But now this next one, we got some big names.
We got Devon out here with teaming up with Batista. This is not his debut, but it is, I believe it's his in-ring debut.
Yeah.
So he's been walking around in like a suit with a little collection box.
Batista has, or the guy?
Batista has. Up to this point, he's just been kind of a side character.
Okay. Now he's coming out as himself.
So now he's in the ring, ready to fight Farouk and Randy Orton, another OVW graduate.
Two big names, which is kind of surprising to me that they're being introduced together. I mean, I guess, of course, you know, at that point they didn't know they would end up becoming two big names, but still, I guess to have, like, you know, relatively newer guys together, these are some big names.
Yeah, for whatever reason, these two were tied from the beginning, and they'll continue to be linked.
Yeah, maybe
as we go forward.
Well, maybe that's what they wanted to do then, though, like come out together if they have like a friendship or something. But
yeah, they're interesting because I mean, Randy Orton is the son of Cowboy Bob Orton, who was a WWE legend.
Oh,
WWF.
I'm not familiar.
Yep, I can't say he was before my time, but he he was considered like the golden child. Really, he was like the prodigy.
Son of Vince, or
I think for everyone.
Oh,
it's like son of a wrestler.
He's you're saying Randy Orton.
Randy Orton.
Oh, okay.
So they're two totally different because Orton is kind of he's the son of a wrestler. He's got the looks, the moves, all that.
That's kind of interesting because doesn't he kind of in the future kind of lean into more of a bad boy kind of character?
Totally.
Huh. Okay. Yeah, he's going to go through a big trip.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, he's kind of, I wouldn't say he has a reputation one way or the other, but pretty much his whole career, he made his name as a bad guy.
Yeah. And with his hair, I mean.
He does have hair at this point, but they both do.
Yeah. Very.
Batista and Orton.
It's just, you know how you see somebody, I guess it's like if you saw somebody with hair for like all of your life or that's how you knew them, and then all of a sudden one day you see them without it. It's just shocking. It's opposite of that, all I've ever seen or known of Randy Orton, he's had the shaved head. So seeing him with the thick brown locks was like, who is this guy?
Yeah. And he was super young too. I mean, he might not have even been 20 at this point.
Yeah.
19, 20, 21 at the most.
He looks it with the hair.
He's very young. Batista is a little older. He's like upper 20s, maybe even 30 by this point.
He's a tall man.
He's a big guy.
Rocking a belly button tat. I mean.
And respectfully, he was a nobody.
Yeah.
Too. So like these guys, it's great. It's awesome that they both ended up becoming as big as they became because they're two totally different types of people.
Yeah. And Batista, I mean, it was a good match. I felt even for what kind of seemed like Batista, you know, is a big guy versus a small guy kind of thing because Batista is so tall. And sometimes that can not be the best of matches to watch because somebody has a clear advantage and they're really trying to sell it. But I thought they did a good job, and Batista beat the crap out of him. He was. Yeah,
we had a lot of Randy Orton in the ring for the most part, but then once Batista came in, toward the end, he was just a total monster, and
Yeah.
finished off Orton with a spine buster, which eventually became one of his signature moves, but not his. We don't get to the Batista bomb just yet.
Okay. I'm excited for that. I know I have the privilege of looking back and, you know, knowing where Batista is now, or what he was and what he is now. Looking back, I do feel like I see the star quality in him a little bit. He may not be necessarily on the mic on this episode or showcasing himself 100%, but he has a quality. He's not forgettable.
Well, buckle up, because it's a long journey for Batista. It's a slow burn.
Yeah.
We're going to get to Evolution, all that, the kind of the template for the bloodline.
Yeah.
We're going to get to that.
Wait, now, what bloodline? The bloodline?
Today's
the
bloodline.
Uso bloodline?
I'm just saying it's a faction.
Oh.
Yeah. It's one of the biggest factions in WWE history, but we'll get to that.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
With
that.
Orton and Batista, Triple H and Ric Flair.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Going to be very interesting when the Evolution starts up, because that's what makes these guys famous.
Okay. Yeah.
Basically.
Cool.
But for now, let's move on to our main event. We've got Hulk Hogan versus Chris Jericho, and I wanted to talk about his intro because it's a little bit different. I'm sure you've heard his kind of classic one, like "I am a real American," you know. So it's not that one. It's kind of his Hollywood Hulk Hogan theme. Mm-hmm. Which I guess he's kind of used to at this point. I just thought it seemed a little awkward. Like he wanted to, because he's a good guy, but he kind of looks like he wants to move along with his normal intro, but it's this one instead. I don't know.
I don't even remember how it went because
okay. Didn't pay
you know
attention.
why? Because I was so distracted. This is going to be the episode of dumb questions. I've always known the name Hulk Hogan, right? Mm-hmm. You just kind of know it. You don't really question it. Okay. We need to like a little explain like I'm 5 kind of situation here. So is he when he becomes the Hulk, or when he hulks out or whatever?
Hulk up.
When he hulks up, he gets into Hulkamania. Is he trying to be the comic book Hulk?
No, he's himself.
Okay.
There's no crossovers here. This isn't the multiverse.
Well, which came first, Hulk Hogan or comic book Hulk?
I don't know, but maybe that he was influenced.
It seems like we're encroaching upon copyright infringement.
I think you're so wrong. That this has nothing to do with that Hulk.
Well, I had to ask because, you know, when you see him getting all angry, I thought to myself, well, hold on now. That's what the Green Hulk does.
I don't believe it. It's got nothing. No.
Okay, I need to dive into that a little bit
maybe
more.
At the surface level, but I don't. But I will say, I noticed the crowd just goes absolutely nuts when he hulks up, which is pretty cool because if you know the story of Hulk Hogan, like goes through Hulkamania in like the 80s, I guess 80s and 90s, kind of tails off a little bit, and that's when he goes to WCW. And then turns heel for the first time. Mm-hmm. And then at this point, obviously, we're past that. He's back to WWE as a good guy. So to see him like go through that whole kind of roller coaster and still be like this popular. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, he's worldwide for sure. He's very popular. But that's why I had to ask. And if there was any question about his age when he takes his head wrap off, and he's showing that baldness, you're like,
the skullet.
Oh yeah, the skullet.
Skullet.
Is that what he calls it?
That's what it's called.
Oh, okay, yeah. You're like, oh, okay, yeah.
The skullet and the handlebar and the tan.
Yeah, he's a very unique looking guy.
No tattoos, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, just very tan leathered skin.
Yeah. Controversial guy. Maybe we'll talk about that one day.
Okay, so that brings me up to this is going to be the episode of like we're only on episode 2 and I still need more context. So you got him and these other handful of guys that we've mentioned who went to WCW. They kind of, I'm guessing, split off or said see you later to what was WWF. and have come back. Is it acknowledged? Is that weird? Like, it was like, oh, you weren't here, and now you're back.
So this isn't like a modern day situation where guys leave for a company and they don't acknowledge them. WWE at this time acquired WCW. So for all intents and purposes, WCW is WWE.
Okay, you say so, like no bad blood or anything like that?
No, in fact, it's the opposite. They used like the NWO. That was completely a WCW creation.
Okay, all right.
So that like it's
I was just
completely
wondering what the vibe
integrated.
was, you know? Like,
I mean, say what you want about Vince, but like he, as long as it's good for business, he holds no grudges.
yeah.
And we'll see that in the coming weeks.
Okay.
Spoiler alert: we see some familiar faces from other companies.
Okay. All right.
Hogan versus Jericho. We go back and forth here, but eventually Jericho has enough, grabs a steel chair, and then gets himself disqualified.
Yeah, that seems to be a common occurrence with Jericho. He's a chair guy.
Yep, and he's trying to do the same thing to Hogan that he did to Edge. He hits him with the chair a couple times. He's got him outside the ring on the steel steps, about to hammer him with the chair. And suddenly, Jericho's theme comes on. And a long-haired guy comes out and is doing the Jericho thing. And it's Edge. Edge is back.
Oh, Edge. Man, what a long runner of a wrestler. I mean, still
around.
Still showing up and putting some moves in modern day. And now here we are, 21
Jericho is
21
too,
years ago.
Just for a different company.
Oh, well, I'm not familiar. Sorry,
Yep.
you're talking to a WWE girl here.
Yep.
Love the long hair on Edge. Such a cool look. I'm always a fan of the really long hair. Obviously, Rollins is my favorite that has the really long hair, but really looks good on Edge. Also, the first time that I'm really seeing and understanding what skinning the cat means in this match. Yeah, so I'm glad you asked.
I have no idea.
Okay.
What you're talking about.
I heard it during the match and I was like, what in the world are they talking about? My understanding in my research is that it's when like a wrestler gets knocked out, but they're still holding on to the top rope and they like pull themselves back up and into the ring. Apparently that's called skinning the cat.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
I had a commentator say like, we got Jericho skinning the cat. And I was like, whoa. What?
I didn't catch that.
But it was my first time kind of looking into what that means. So hopefully I'll see it and I'll hear it in the future and be like, oh, I know what that move is.
Skinning the cat.
Yeah. But never would have thought I would see Edge and Hulk Hogan teaming up. But I guess a common enemy makes you the best of friends.
Yep. Well, first of all, I have to say it was really weird. I don't know why Edge had to come out to Jericho's theme. I don't know if there's some missing context here, but...
Well, they said they were like, oh my gosh, Edge is back. And I was thinking, back from where? Is he also did he go to WCW?
No. Jericho beat him down. We talked about this earlier.
Oh, okay.
I don't...
It's been a long day.
Yeah. I don't know when that was, like the beatdown, but he's been out for some period of time.
Oh, okay.
Because Jericho
we got all these
beat
people
him down.
Coming back, yep. So
that's wrestling.
Yeah,
some
everybody's on
departures and returns,
and some people just disappear and you never hear about them again. Yep. But hey, that's what makes it fun, yeah.
Yeah, and then Edge, like you said, Edge takes out Jericho, and then Edge and Hogan have their moment in the ring.
Yeah, it was an odd note to end on, but not odd bad. Just like, oh, okay, well, that's good for them.
Yeah. Potential alliance.
Yeah, that's a weird one, huh? Edge and Hulk Hogan. I don't know. Never would have seen that coming. But stranger things have happened. I guess you got Book Dust.
Book Dust. Yeah. Yeah, lots of. That's the cool thing about wrestling is you get all these weird teams you never thought you would see.
Yeah, it's like a deck of cards and you shuffle them and lay them out, and they're never the same. And you're following along, you're watching the deck be shuffled, and you're wondering, man, how are these cards going to be laid out? And sometimes it really takes you by surprise. Sometimes they take a card, throw it away. You'll never see it again.
They always keep you guessing.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess next up we've got Monday Night Raw coming back.
Yeah, thus ends SmackDown. Next, we'll be back with the next Raw.
Yeah.
For now, we're taking it by each show. I mean, there's a lot going on. We kind of originally wanted to do just the pay-per-views, but
there's so much.
You'd miss so much, and for pay-per-views, you just don't get the background on what's happening. So I just don't think that'd be very interesting. So for now, we're going to take it show by show. If it gets to a point where maybe it feels like we can skip some, maybe we will. But
yeah, if there's more filler than there is new content and whatnots, maybe. But for right now, I'm enjoying the episode by episode. I think there's so much new to me at this point that there's just, I'm like, whoa, what's going on?
There's a lot happening at the front end of this era.
Yeah. But if you have Peacock, you should watch along. Maybe pre or even post watching us and see what you think. Let us know if we've hit any common points or if you completely disagree. That's okay. We can all have opinions. And we'll catch you on the next one. Catch you on Raw. Until then, see ya.